Welcome. In the last session, I have given briefly the classification of a plant kingdom, and in this session, I'm going to start discussing each group of plant kingdom. So, in the last session, I have already told you that the plant kingdom it consists of algae, then bryophytes, the pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. And I also told you that the algae are the most primitive plants and angiosperms are the advanced group of plants. So I'm going to start to discuss each of this group in detail. So first let's see about the algae. So here algae are, so they are chlorophyll containing plants. So they are chlorophyll containing plants. Okay, so here of course this chlorophyll is not only present in algal group, but this pigment is present in bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and also in angiosperms. So all the plants will have chlorophyll. Of course, the type of chlorophyll molecules may change, that we'll discuss as we go on. Okay, so this chlorophyll is photosynthetic pigment, and helps in the process of photosynthesis. And these chlorophyll molecules are present in specialized cell organelles called chloroplasts. So present in chloroplasts. We know algae are eukaryotic organisms. So eukaryotic organisms will have cell organelles. Okay, so here these algae have chloroplasts, which are cell organelles, and inside the chloroplast we will be seeing the presence of chlorophyll pigments, of course, which will be present in membranes of thylakoids. Then next point here, so they have simple thalloid body. So they have simple thalloid body. So here the thalloid body, which means they have undifferentiated plant body, which means the plant body is not differentiated into root, stem, and leaf. So the meaning here, undifferentiated plant body is, okay, their body is not differentiated into root, stem, or leaf. So they don't have any of these parts. So we call such a body as a thalloid body. So they have simple thalloid body, and these are autotrophic organisms. Okay, so these are autotrophic, which means they are capable of performing photosynthesis and synthesizing their own food materials. Of course, here we see not chemoautotropic, we see photoautotropic. So they are photoautotropic. Right. The next point, okay, so they are mostly aquatic. So they live mostly in waters. So that is aquatic. Of course, the waters may be fresh waters or marine waters. So that may be fresh waters, or we will see even growing them in marine waters. So fresh waters are ponds, okay, lakes, rivers, etc. are all okay, fresh water. And marine water, so they are oceans. So we see them, okay, both in non-salty waters and salty waters. So that is they are mostly aquatic. Of course, there are few that are present even growing in terrestrial habitats. Okay, we see, okay, they are also seen growing on moist stones. So they are growing, okay, on moist stones. Okay, so where there are waterfalls, the stones will be always moist on either side. So you will be seeing these algae growing. So there are different species, so which might have habituated to grow on these moist stones, and also, okay, in moist soils and woods. So on moist, okay, woods also we see these algae growing. And some of the members or some species, okay, they live symbiotically with the other species, right? So some members have symbiotic association. Some members have symbiotic association. So we know what is the meaning of symbiotic association. It's an association between two different species in which both species get benefit. So here symbiotic association is interaction between two species in which both species get benefit, in which both species will get benefit. So such an association we call symbiotic association. And we see, okay, some algal species, they formed association with the fungus. So example, alga plus fungus. Okay, so in the first chapter we have seen about the lichen. So this association between alga and fungus, so this is a phycobion and this is the mycobion. Okay, so this results in formation of lichen. So such an association between alga and fungus, we call it as lichens. And then we also see, right, the alga associating with some animals. So alga also grows on animals like sloth bear. So alga plus sloth bear. So this is association between alga and sloth bear. Then coming to the size of these plants. So coming to the size of the plants, so these algae are highly variable and they range from, okay, range from unicellular to multicellular forms. So they range from unicellular, so unicellular algae to multicellular forms, and some of them can grow very tall. So that we will see in coming sessions. Okay, and right, so the simpler ones will be like colonial or filamentous forms, may range from colonial or filamentous forms. So here colonial form, like example, in case of wall box is a colonial form. Okay, so cells will be present in a colony. So if we see the cells present in a colony and they're all connected by some cytoplasmic strands, so this is what we say a colonial form, is a colonial form. And if we see, the cells are attached one to one to form a long chain like structure. So this is what we call filamentous forms. Okay, so such filamentous forms we can see in case of Eulotrix, Spirogyra, etc. So later we'll see, when I discuss the groups, we'll see about them in detail. So colonial forms and filamentous forms here. Okay, and some of them can form massive plant bodies. So massive plant body that we can see in case of okay, laminaria. So this is commonly called kelp. Is commonly called kelp. So kelps can form very huge bodies growing, okay, several feet or in meters. Okay, so they really grow very tall and big, so that's why we call it massive plant bodies. So these are simpler forms, colonial, okay, and they are microscopic to macroscopic. So these kelps are macroscopic, so very big. And the colonial forms like volvox, pyrogyra, we require microscope to see them, so they are microscopic to large, okay, plants. So this is about size in case of the group algae. One for unicellular, we can also take an example like Chlamydomonas. So Chlamydomonas is a unicellular form. Okay, so that's about the size. Coming to mode of reproduction. So how these algae reproduce? So algae reproduce by all the three methods. So vegetative reproduction, they reproduce vegetatively, and they also reproduce asexual, okay, reproduction also seen, and sexual reproduction is also seen. Now here coming to vegetative mode of reproduction, so that will be by fragmentation. So will be by fragmentation, and in case of asexual reproduction, this will be by, okay, formation of, okay, spores. And the common one, so common are juice spores. So common are juice spores, okay, in case of asexual reproduction. And coming to right sexual mode of reproduction, so that may be by isogamy, or maybe by anisogamy, or maybe by oogamy. Okay, that I will discuss later. So first we'll see vegetative mode of reproduction by fragmentation. So we can see in case of filamentous forms, we'll take like in case of Spirogyra. So Spirogyra is a filamentous form, okay, and its chloroplast will be in spiral shape. Okay, so we can see here, so this is its chloroplast, okay, and this is Spirogyra. Okay, so this Spirogyra is a filamentous form, right? And if this filamentous form breaks up into, okay, two filaments, so you can see here breaks up into two filaments. Now this one, okay, develops into new thallus, and this one will develop into another new thallus, so develops into new thallus. So you can see one thallus, okay, it got separated and formed into two thalli. So that's how the fragmentation takes place. So we will see in number of species the fragmentation taking place. Even in case of wall walks, also the colonial forms can break up and develop into new colonies. Okay, so that's how vegetative reproduction by fragmentation takes place. Then, okay, the next one will be by formation of zoospores. Example, in case of chlamydomonas. Okay, so this is a unicellular alga and this is a haploid. So it's a haploid, and the thalloid body. Okay, so here it consists of a juice sporangium. So it develops a juice sporangium, and inside the juice sporangium, okay, so the cell divides and it gives off some, so 2 to 16 daughter cells. Okay, inside the juice sporangium it gives some, okay, 2 to 16 daughter cells, and these develop into juice spores. So they develop into juice spores. Of course, this is by the process of okay, I mean the cell division that is involved will be mitosis. So here the cells undergo mitotic division and finally result in the formation of juice spores. And here the juice spores are flagellated, so they are actually biflagellated. So they are biflagellated, and okay, so they look in this way. Okay, so this is a biflagellated juice spore. So this biflagellated juice spore, because presence of this flagella, the juice spores are capable of moving, so they are motile. And once they are released and they move to, okay, different places, and if the environmental factors are favorable, then the juice spore germinates and gives rise to, okay, new plant. So that is how the asexual reproduction takes place by formation of juice spores. Then the next one, coming to sexual mode of reproduction. So here during the sexual mode of reproduction, they produce gametes. So in sexual reproduction, they produce gametes, and these gametes are produced by, okay, mitosis, and these gametes may be motile or non-motile. So now coming to, okay, uh, isogamy. So here isogamy will be the fusion of two similar gametes, right? So here the gametes, okay, are similar in size and flagellated. So the gametes can be similar in size and flagellated. So flagellated, which means they are motile. So such union of similar in size gametes and flagellated, we can see in eulothrix, in case of eulothrix. Okay, and then in some cases the gametes are similar in size and they are non-flagellated. So they are non-flagellated. So if they are non-flagellated, they will be non-motile, means they don't have the ability to move, and such type of fusion of gametes can be seen in case of spirogyra, okay. So in sexual mode of reproduction, they produce gametes and okay, gametes unite to form zygote. So gametes, okay, unite to form zygote. So they unite to form zygote, and in some cases the gametes will be similar in size and flagellated like in Eulothrix, and gametes will be similar in size and non-flagellated like in case of Spirogyra, right? So this is what we call isogamy. So here in case of isogamy, it is fusion of, okay, similar gametes, okay, of course in size, fusion of gametes similar in size, so is what we call isogamy, is called isogamy. Okay, then next coming to anisogamy, so it will be fusion between dissimilar gametes. Okay, in case of anisogamy, it will be fusion of dissimilar gametes. This in size. So in size, so dissimilar in size and their fusion, I mean dissimilar, okay, sized gametes fusion is what we call anisogamy, and such type of anisogamy we can see in case of Eudorina. So in case of Eudorina, okay, then and another one called oogamous. So this oogamous is advanced, okay, type. So when we compare with isogamous and isogamous and oogamous, the oogamous is advanced, okay, type, and isogamous is a primitive among these three. So here let's see, in case of oogamous, there is fusion between, there is a fusion between, okay, a large non-motile gamete and a small motile gamete. So there is a fusion between a large non-motile gamete and a small motile gamete. So this large non-motile gamete is usually the female gamete, whereas the small motile gamete, it will be male gamete. Okay, so the fusion between a large non-motile, okay, gamete and a smaller motile gamete is called, okay, oogamous. And we see such type of okay, union in case of fucus, okay, and also we can see in case of volvox, etc. Right, so that's about how the sexual reproduction in case of algae takes place. Okay, now the group algae is classified into three classes. So it's classified into three classes, so which are Chlorophyceae. So the algae classified into three classes. So they are Chlorophyceae, then Phaeophyceae, and then Rhodophyceae. Okay, so this group algae, a subdivision. So I think yesterday I have told. So this is a subdivision and is present under the division Thallophyta. And this subdivision algae it has classes. So there are Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, and Rhodophyceae. Okay, right. So let's see the first one, Chlorophyceae. So of course these are green algae, okay, the brown algae and the red algae. So these green, okay, brown and red algae. So first we'll see about this group, Chlorophyceae, right? As I told that the members, so whatever that species we have included under the Chlorophyceae, they are all called, so commonly called green algae. So they are commonly called green algae, and we see them, okay, they are aquatic mostly, and we see them in fresh waters. Then we also see them in marine waters, and we will also see them in brackish waters. So brackish waters are the waters which are present in estuaries. So estuary is a location where the river meets sea. So the point where the river meets the sea, so that there will be a estuary, and the waters present in that are called brackish waters, which are not too salty or fresh. Okay, so we see these members of Chlorophyceae growing in fresh waters like in rivers, ponds, lakes, and in marine waters, that is in oceans, okay, and seas, and in case of brackish waters where the point river meets a sea. So there also we see these members growing. The next one, so in this group there may be, right, unicellular, they may be unicellular. It means that some species are unicellular, some members are colonial, and some are filamentous forms. So some are unicellular, some are colonial, and okay, and some are filamentous forms. Then the Chlorophyceae are green in color. So the members of Chlorophyceae are green in color. So the green color is due to presence of chlorophyll pigments. So due to presence of chlorophyll pigments, and those chlorophyll pigments, especially chlorophyll A and also chlorophyll B and also chlorophyll B. So here the green color is due to presence of photosynthetic pigments, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. And I told you that this photosynthetic pigment will be present in the thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast. I hope you remember when we discussed photosynthesis in higher plants. Okay, so we see here that algae also, okay, so have this chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, which are photosynthetic pigments. So these two are photosynthetic pigments. Okay, so actually when we see the plants, usually we algae and bryophytes. So these are lower group of plants, whereas the pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, so these are considered as higher group of plants, So we can see that as we go from algae to angiosperms, the complexity, the body complexity increases. Okay, so algae are the simplest one, whereas the angiosperms are the complex one. So usually while saying these algae and bryophytes, we consider them as the lower group of plants, whereas the pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms will be considered as a higher category of plants. I told you these pigments, the photosynthetic pigments, okay, photosynthetic pigments located in chloroplasts. So they are located in chloroplasts. Chloroplasts have various shapes. So the chloroplasts have various shapes. So that's the shapes of chloroplasts. So especially in the members of Chlorophyceae. So they may be right discoid. So they may be okay discoid in shape, and they may be okay plate-like also we can see, and then they are reticulate type okay of chloroplast, right, and then cup shaped, okay, and spiral or okay ribbon shaped. So we find various shapes of chloroplast. Okay, so the discoid, okay, we can see something like this, and then okay the plate like, and okay reticulate, which it results in formation of okay network like. So actually reticulate means a network, and we will be seeing okay a lot of connections. Okay, so here, so this is a reticulate okay of a shape of chloroplast. Then cup shape, we'll see something like this. So this is a cup shaped chloroplast, and spiral we will see okay in this way. So that's a spiral form of or ribbon shape okay chloroplast. Many members of this group have one or more storage bodies. So many members of this group, so they have one or more storage bodies. So those storage bodies are called pyrenoids. So those storage bodies are called pyrenoids. Okay, and these pyrenoids are present in the cytoplasm of chloroplast. So these pyrenoids are located in the cytoplasm of chloroplast. Okay, and what these pyrenoids are made up of? So these pyrenoids actually contain two components, protein and starch. So pyrenoids have starch and proteins. So they have starch and proteins, which will be the reserve form of food. Okay, especially the starch is the reserve food materials in this group of plants. Then some algae store food in the form of oil droplets. So many members they store the food materials okay in the form of pyrenoids. Okay, they are a combination of starch and proteins, and in some other members okay reserve food is in the form of oil droplets. So they store the food in the form of oil droplets. Okay, right. And coming to the cell wall in this group, so that is in case of Chlorophyceae, the cell wall is made up of two layers. So it is made up of two layers. So the outer layer is pectose. So it has a outer layer, and that is composed of pectose material. Then the inner layer is composed of cellulose. So it has an inner layer, and that is composed of cellulose. I will end today's session. So in tomorrow's session, we'll discuss a few more characters of Chlorophyceae, and then we will move on to Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae also.